Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. We're already into a new year. It's that time again where we focus solely on the magic that is currently Detroit Pistons basketball here for the Majors Detroit. Garrett Comax joining, and as always, I'm not alone. The two gentlemen joining me, you know who they are. You would think they need no introduction, but they deserve to be introduced. First off, the brainchild production maestro, man that operates the Majors Detroit on so many fronts, Adam Hernandez. Adam, how are you this evening?
I'm fine.
Hell yeah. And back from Italy. Um, Great vacation. The true defeated Simone Fontecchio for the title of the current Italian stallion. Went you not only checked out a basketball museum in Bologna, but you were also went to a basketball game in Italy, if I'm not correct. Matt Feldbush, uh, Pagano, welcome. How's the trip?
Buongiorno, boys. Trip was fantastic. We didn't actually end up watching the basketball game. We did go to an AS Roma match. Wrong podcast. We'll talk about the soccer some other way. But yeah, we did stop in a little Italian museum, basketball museum. I didn't know anybody in there. There's a lot of guys I'd never heard of before. I did look for Simone and Pistons legend Danilo Gallinari, but I did not see either of them.
Oh man, that's a bummer. Speaking of other sports, real quick, we would be remiss if we didn't do a check on your brother to see how he's doing amidst the Ravens' missed field goal on Sunday and coaching change after 18 seasons.
Yeah, he didn't even bring up the. I didn't bring it up, and he didn't bring up them losing. And then I told him about Harbaugh getting fired, and we both are very surprised by that. I did not expect that.
Life comes at you fast, boys.
Yeah.
And one thing that's been still fast and still constant is this 2025-2026 Detroit Pistons team. The nasty dogs, the beware of dog sign that we talked about. Let's talk about when we last recorded on December 3rd, 2025. We highlighted there was going to be a 15 game stretch between that recording and this recording. Um, Broke it down in 3 5 game stretches, and then we kind of gave our predictions of what we would see, what we would think the team would do in that 15 game stretch. So, first 5 game stretch of that at Milwaukee, home to Portland, home to Milwaukee, home to Atlanta, at Boston in December. Started off with a loss to Milwaukee, blew an early lead despite Giannis Antetokounmpo getting hurt, but then won the next four, beat Portland, beat Milwaukee in a back-to-back at home. Matt and I had the pleasure of watching that Pistons 142-115 win over the Atlanta Hawks on December 12th at
hmm
Little Caesars Arena. That was beautiful. Followed up 3 days later by a big win on national TV or local, depending on what you watched, at in the Garden at Boston. Um, so that was the first five, 4-1. The next five saw the Pistons start off losing to Dallas. I'm not going to say anything about the refereeing. I don't want to get fined. And then the close loss, come back from 18, but wind up losing by two in overtime. Defeat the Charlotte Hornets, and then go on a 5 game road stretch. Beat Portland and Sacramento on back-to-back before Christmas. Come back the day after Christmas, losing to Utah to end that 5 game stretch. The last 5 game stretch started with a second loss in a row to the Los Angeles Clippers, and Kawhi Leonard going for 55, if I recall correctly. Followed by ending the road trip in style, the biggest win the Pistons ever had at the Los Angeles Lakers. Um, One that we thought was going to be the biggest belt to ass stretch, most probable belt to ass in this run. New Year's Day was a bit rough for the Pistons, losing at home to the Miami Heat, but perhaps the most impressive 2 games of this stretch of this 15 game were the last two. A win at Cleveland, their first win in Cleveland since 6 years ago today, January 7th, 2020, followed by the next night defeating the New York Knicks in the long-awaited first matchup since their first round playoff series, and not just beating them on Peacock or NBC Sports Network, a 121 to 90 win. Pistons go 10-5 in that stretch. Matt and Adam, you both predicted 10-5. Congratulations. I have questions about the at least four of those five losses that would have got I just needed one. That was like the lie. It's just one. But 27-9 is this Pistons team going into a game against Chicago Bulls. Tip-off is in less than an hour tonight. Where are y'all at with that? What did you like about this trip? Could be, favorite game, player standout, and maybe what was something that has concerned you? So, Matt, I'll have you go then, Adam.
I'd be I have to say that the best part was obviously the win against the New York Knicks last night. That was, or not 2 nights ago. That was a just pure dismantling. And I think also the fact that it was the first game that the Knicks played against the Pistons since the playoff series last year. It was
Yeah,
at Detroit. It was, I think, an excising of a lot of demons. And I think that's probably, I think we talked about it a little bit after the game. I think it's the best win that they've had since Beef Stew was drafted and arguably even longer. It's such a complete victory in every regard, not just on the court, but like in terms of silencing a lot of these people that said the Pistons couldn't beat a good team or hadn't beat any good teams. I think we have the best winning percentage against over 500 teams in the entire league. People keep finding ways to say the Pistons are not as good as they are. We are on the back end of a back-to-back.
banged up.
Banged up two of our stars out. Um, I saw a stat that they showed in the middle of the game that the league average on the back end of a back-to-back teams are 48%. Obviously, that makes sense. They're tired from the day before.
Potential travel, etc.
Except Pistons are 7-1 after that win last night. And that
Jesus.
one loss was that third game that they lost against the Cleveland Cavaliers at the start of the season.
Yeah, man.
They are an insane team on the back end of a back-to-back, and I don't even know how to explain it really. I think it has to do with them being young. I think just willing to put in the work after so many years of such little success. I've just been completely in awe of how they have kept this up. Obviously, they're not as good as when we started. There's some losses that have been in there, especially that Clippers loss. I wasn't able to watch that one. The loss against Miami on New Year's Day, they just looked like they couldn't make a single bucket. And I think that's the concern I have is the shooting. It was bound to come up. They're bound to not always shoot well, especially from three. Um, and we can talk about what that means for the future of this team, but I think I have so little to critique about this team. And if anything, it's coaching and needing to see less of Karis LeVert and needing to see much more of Marcus Sasser, honestly.
Yeah.
We could talk about
He-
that too. Like, what does that mean for the future of this team? I'm sure we'll talk about what we trade deadline ideas might be as we move forward throughout this, either this week or the next one. But I have so little concern with this team right now.
Oh yeah. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I think the focus is primarily on on those two games against the Cavs and then the following night against the Knicks. Just remarkable performance. As far as the Cavs go, kind of getting a little bit of avenging that loss, that earlier season loss where they got blown out by the Cavs. And you consistently heard, especially from Cavs fans, whenever there's, the Pistons were had success, it was always, oh, well, the Cavs, completely blew you out earlier on in the season. It's similar to what, Pistons fans and, the Pistons still in general had to deal with, when it came to the Knicks, having to, hear Knicks fans and the national, pundits talking about, oh, well, they got beat by the Knicks last year. Um, despite of, everything that the Pistons have done this year, and Matt's totally right too. You've constantly heard about, oh, well, they can't beat good teams. They haven't beat good teams. They're just feasting on, the bottom of the Eastern Conference when, those two wins didn't come against Washington and Brooklyn. They came against Cleveland and New York. I mean,
Yeah.
one of those teams was right behind you in the second place in the East, and the other one's in the upper half of the Eastern Conference. They're a playoff team. They're not a play-in team. The Cavs are a playoff team right now. Uh,
Yeah. They hold the sixth spot. They're the
yeah,
last automatic.
and I think what we saw again, as far as like some of the trouble that they had, and like and I agree with Matt. It's hard to critique this team, and I agree with shooting is somewhat of concern sometimes. Same with turnovers,
Hmm.
and I think Garrett, the last time that we broadcasted, we're talking about turnovers as well, and I want to say that turnovers ended up being a problem with one of those games later on that day.
Turnovers and missed free throws.
Yeah,
Hmm.
in which case, what was it? It was the Cleveland game where, Dennis Jenkins came in and nailed his free throws at the end,
Yeah.
and really iced that game, which was, that's nice to see, especially from a guy like Dennis Jenkins, um, who was remarkable off the bench then. I think he got like what, 21 points or something off the bench, which is crazy.
25 in the
All in the
game,
third quarter? Yeah,
21 in the
Yeah,
second quarter,
second quarter.
6 from
Yeah.
three. The seventh
yeah.
one was a and one.
And it was great. As far as the Knicks go, I mean, I hate to bring the guy up, but Stephen A. Smith was talking the other day, talking about how he's generally concerned about the Pistons this year as a Knicks fan. And you know what? And I again, to Stephen A. Smith's credit too, he was concerned about the Pistons last year in the first round.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I remember him saying that he thought that they were going to end up coming back and tying the series, which I think that everything that we saw Monday night or the other night, was it Monday night?
It was Monday
Yeah, it was
night.
Monday night.
Hmm.
Um, if the Pistons had beef stew last year in that series, Pistons are probably moving on. Um,
Pistons winning six, maybe
I'm so,
five.
I'm
Maybe
sorry.
five.
I'm sorry. The Knicks are kind of a soft team, you guys.
They
Like
are.
Knicks are an Knicks are a I don't want to say kind of. I think they're an incredibly soft team. You saw what the Pistons did with their physicality against the Knicks and completely wiped them out. And people want to go talk about what was it?
With
It
no
was hard.
Duran.
Yeah,
With no
no Duran
Duran.
was there.
No Harris.
Tobias Harris was gone. I mean, even though he has a bit of fat, Karis LeVert was gone too. That's one guy that you are down still. Um, it was I, if I'm a Knicks fan, yeah, I'm extremely concerned as well because another thing is also
They've lost four straight too.
they've lost four straight, and it's good to see that the Knicks have been in that slump too, because obviously the Pistons had that, little bit of a hiccup, coming back from that road trip and, dealing with they win, where were they like one win in like four games or something like that. Um, which I think, it's just they're coming back from a West Coast road trip, they're tired, lethargic, that's fine. Shit like that's going to happen throughout a long season. But another thing too, I mean, um, Jalen Brunson, dude is small. Like he's not somebody that can go toe to toe with Cade. I'm sorry.
Nope.
You've got a
No.
complete size mismatch there. And if I'm the Knicks, that is something else that's concerning. Jalen Brunson's your best player on the floor if you're the Knicks. And having him being unable to go one on one with Cade Cunningham, I think that's concerning. Not to say that that's
They
their
tell Cade
only.
Cunningham is 6'6", but if you saw the side to side photo that came out today with Grant Hill, Cade's 6'8".
Yeah, no,
I
and
don't
not to, and
understand the 6'6" thing. Sorry to interrupt, but I
oh
don't
no, no, no,
understand the
you're
six.
fine. No, you're
It's
fine. But
crazy.
I
He
mean,
is so much taller.
yeah,
Hmm.
and I don't know. Like I just it was a statement win. I mean
Yep.
the Pistons were hungry for that win, and I'm sorry. I hate one last thing too. I hate some of the local media here that's trying to downplay that win.
Yeah.
And oh, it's just a win in the middle of the season. Who cares? No, that wasn't just a win in the middle of the season. That was a statement win from a team that is still up and coming. This is an incredibly young team. I think the scary thing too about the Pistons is they're an underrated team. I think their defense is hugely underrated across the
Yeah.
league.
Hmm.
And I
Can
think
I comment on that?
this team
Yeah,
could
go
get
for
better.
it.
And yeah, no, go ahead, Matt. I'm
I
I'm
want to
done now.
add, we were talking about the physicality of the Knicks game, and there were only the Pistons committed 15 fouls in that game, which I have to think is a low in a long time. The Pistons get called for a lot of fouls. I
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
know exactly like what was called, like if it was the referee crew or what, but they played that game very physically, on defense and also did not foul. And if the Pistons are going to get called like that, which they probably will in the playoffs, this team is scary. I would not want to play
Hmm.
this team in the
I was,
playoffs at
yeah, and
all.
I yeah, and I heard somebody else. I mean, people are talking about the Pistons being probably going to be disappointed if they don't go through New York in the playoffs at some point. But I agree with you, and that's one of the only things I'm worried about. And I hate saying this just because it sounds like, you
You're
know,
tempting fate. You're afraid you're going to tempt fate.
no, I don't want to complain about the refs before it actually happens, but I mean, it just
That's why I stayed quiet because during this stretch there was some questionable moments of officiating
I
in
mean,
this 15 game run.
especially going up against the Knicks. We saw what happened last year
Yeah.
when having to deal with the referees. Um, I mean, do the Pistons have to win games against the Knicks like we saw Monday night in order to actually beat the Knicks in a 5 game series or a 7 game
Seven.
series? Um, I don't know. That's getting way ahead of
Well,
myself there, and it's just
yeah,
I don't know. Like I don't, but I'm with you, Garrett. I mean, the officiating during some of these stretches have been frustrating, and Bickerstaff has isn't afraid to make his feelings known about that too, and in post game press conferences.
I think there was something that I was really, really, really concerned about during this 15 game run. Like the Dallas game was part of it. That game in the third quarter in Utah. Um, Matt, you mentioned the third quarter against Miami. And even the Clippers game as a whole. Teams that were, and I think part of it is teams started to counteract with our run by playing in zone against us. A zone that, so taking away our ability to quickly move the ball, to drive into the paint because we live and die in the paint, either scoring into the paint or driving into the paint, then kicking out. And we had that multiple times that put us into a hole. And I think we would be playing, weren't moving the ball around. And I think the 5 losses that we saw in that stretch were part of that. However, the adjustment, it seems like that we're countering is playing Cade a bit deeper, especially when we have Ivy, Jenkins, Sasser, any one, a combo, or all three of them, where Cade's driving in and being a kick out guy, using that size more and more and more. It seems like the Pistons are catching on to how teams want to play with them and giving them a receipt. You're going to try to do this, here's something back. And that I think is a good sign of a team. Like, all right, here's another way we're going to beat you. Um, Before we go into this next run, one guy in this 15 game stretch that's stood out to you and one that you might have concerns.
Go ahead, man.
I
Because I
think
think ours are probably the same, man. Go ahead.
actually I would probably I don't think maybe our disappointed one, but probably not our impressed one. My person that I'm impressed by, I'm not gonna say Cade Cunningham. I know what Cade Cunningham is capable of. I know what Jalen Duren's capable of. It's honestly Javonte Green. I didn't know what to think about Javonte Green when we signed him. I thought, okay, he'll be a stasher at the back of the bench, and maybe he'll never really play. I wasn't familiar with his game. This dude is a dog. He hustles for everything. He will be an annoyance on defense. He went 4 of 6 from three on Monday. Like, if you need him to drop some threes, he will. He will hound you. I think, just embodies this team, and he feels like he's been on this team for longer than he has. It seems like he's completely bought in. We've gotten him at I think, probably a discount for what he's actually providing us. I've just been really impressed with the way he's been playing and the way he can step up when he's needed to. The player I'm disappointed in, I kind of already mentioned it, is Karis LeVert. I don't think that he has much of a place on this team with the way that Dennis Jenkins and Marcus Sasser are playing. I'd kind of rather have that both of them. Um, I just feel like
Ivy and now become Ivy playing off the ball
Ivy
more.
coming back too. It just feels like every time I saw, especially when I was in Italy and I couldn't really watch these games because they're happening, especially on the the West Coast at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Um,
If you're lucky, it was 4:30 probably in the morning for you in LA against
some of them,
LA.
yeah, some of them I probably could have caught them when I woke up, but everything I saw was just like Karis LeVert, a lazy pass or Karis LeVert just not doing much, and so I understand. I was kind of hoping for Karis to do pretty well. I think he just hasn't lived up to probably what we need him to be if he's going to be a member of this team that really contributes.
So for you, Javante highlight, Karis LeVert down, no light.
Correct.
Adam,
I'll start with my low light because it's the same one as Matt, Karis LeVert for everything. I completely agree with what, Matt's assertions were with him. My surprise is Marcus Sasser,
Hmm.
namely because I thought this guy was going to be done. That hip injury that he had, I thought we saw the last of Marcus Sasser. Uh, and then, it seemed like it was out of nowhere too. All of a sudden he was transferred over to the Motor City Cruise. He's playing cruise games, and then he made his way back to the Pistons, and he's been, very effective for them, and made what Karis LeVert has been unable to do with this team, um, pretty much a moot point. Um, and that's you know, and that's the makings too of a good team. When one guy isn't pulling his weight or one guy isn't performing, lo and behold, you have two guys for the Pistons right now, and Dennis Jenkins and Marcus Sasser, um, who are making up for that. So, um, you can say a lot about Dennis Jenkins too. I don't care if anybody was to say Dennis Jenkins because what he's been doing has been great. And I think the Pistons, though, they're fortunate enough to kind of get healthy, because I was really really afraid of Dennis Jenkins getting kind of too exposed, and um maybe not being as effective as things kind of went on, because I think that's kind of what happens with some of these guys is, especially if you lack depth or you have, too many long-term injuries, stuff like that usually catches up to guys like Dennis Jenkins. But luckily enough, I mean, this team is pretty deep when you look at it. Um, and they don't have to rely on Dennis Jenkins too much. It seems like the perfect amount of playing time that they are giving him, right now, in a sense, just because they're not overdoing it with him, they're not underdoing it with him. Maybe a little bit with Marcus Sasser, but Karis LeVert is injured right now, so it's not really an issue. So, but Marcus Sasser would probably be my guy, just because namely because he was. I didn't think this guy was going to be coming back. I thought we saw the last of Marcus Astor, and he was going to be gone.
guy that to me, I agree with you, Levert. I would say a guy that I want to see more of is Asar Thompson. Started off, when he's aggressive. He's an impact player offensively, moving the ball around, rebounds. And his defensive game is still in there, but you've seen sometimes where he's like a cat unsure about what to do in a situation in a moment. And some of those games we have struggled in those things where he's kind of like not confident in taking the shot, hangs onto the ball a little bit too much in the buildup, those type of little bit of things in there. I can understand if it's Ron Holland kind of doing that because Ron Holland, when he comes on the court, is chaos. And Ron Holland was an honorable mention for me as a standout because, especially these last few games, just a damn spark of energy. Javante Green for me. I saw a tweet. I don't know if it was a Monday night. I saw it yesterday, so I don't know if it was a Monday night tweet or a Tuesday tweet. Javante Green is like the most lifetime Piston player that is not a lifetime Piston player.
Yeah.
Uh, and he just goes. He goes when he defend. If he's not scoring, he's finding a way to contribute. And then when he's shooting, game over. And then the just the swagger and this an extension of what this team is. And I think that's the type of guy. Um,
One quick
we're
thing
getting
here,
to.
One quick
Yeah,
thing, because you mentioned Oscar Thompson, and I think this is kind of the scary thing though when it comes to the Pistons, is Oscar Thompson is a guy who has missed, who hasn't been in the league a long time.
right.
He's still a very,
Third
very young
season.
player.
Yeah, he missed a whole year, basically.
Yeah, and he missed an entire year, um, due to injury. And him contributing in the way that he has, this is a guy that's only going to get better. This is a team that's only going to
Hmm.
get better because Oscar Thompson is going to get better. And everything that you mentioned, Garrett, is are coachable problems. Um,
Hmm.
Hmm.
so again, it's if I'm if I'm at the top of the East right now, if I'm the Cavs, if I'm the Celtics, if I'm, the Knicks
Toronto.
or the Raptors, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm nervous about this Pistons team and what type of long-term ramifications they could have on this conference, for, the next several years. Um, yeah, it's good if you're a Pistons
Honorable.
fan, not so good if you're anybody else in the East.
Another honorable mention, Jaden Ivey. You're starting to see his game kind of shift a little bit with this injury. He's still got some of the slashing, but playing off the ball, shooting well, becoming a spot shooter. 16 points against the Knicks on Monday. Um, I think less ball carrying, more like spot shooting, driving, and I think we're getting it. And for those that are concerned, JI's had an injury not many people come back from at a high level consistently, I feel like, with that fibia injury, which is, we're only a year and 6 days from that, from when that happened. So the fact that I think he's been playing consistently, getting double figures a lot, I think is a good sign in there too, especially as we're figuring out how to put all these pieces in a deep team. One last note. 10 wins in this stretch, six of them against playoff teams, four of them on the road. I think it was four of them on the road. Boston. So these are teams that are either in the automatic six or in the play-ins. Your road wins, Boston, Cleveland, the
Also,
Lakers,
yeah.
and Portland. That's four of your big six wins in that. And then you also included beating the Hawks and the Knicks at home. Obviously, your only loss out of those five to a playoff team was Miami. So that is a little bit concerning. You had a lead in each one of those games. I don't think we had a lead a game against the Clippers. The Clippers is probably the most forgettable of that 15 game stretch when you look at it. Just weren't going that night. We are going to be going again next month in like the first Wednesday in February. So in that stretch, starting tonight, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games coming in there. Most of them are in friendly confines at Little Caesars Arena. So the Bulls tonight, January 7th, January 10th, home to the Clippers, January 15th against the Suns, January 17th against the Pacers, Martin Luther King Day, January 19th against the Celtics. Then you're at New Orleans on January 21st, 2 weeks from today, to say hi to Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver. Then you are home to Houston, home to Sacramento on my birthday. Don't fuck it up, boys. Home at Denver, at Phoenix, at Golden State. So your last really big West Coast road trip. And then home to Brooklyn and Denver on February 1st and February 3rd. 13 games. Gents, how do you see it go?
Go ahead, man. You can go.
We played the Nuggets twice in that stretch. That's kind of a scary prospect.
Phoenix twice too.
Phoenix twice, and they are doing a lot better than I thought they were going to. I'm actually going to the 15th game in January. I thought that'd be a throwaway game, but that might actually be a pretty good matchup. I think 8-5. I
I think
think
the Clippers have also gotten better too.
the
They've been
Clippers
gelling
have,
more. They've been beating teams up.
yeah, I think we get the revenge on the Celtics. I say revenge, but I think we beat them last time we played them. Yeah.
Go 3-1
Yeah, I'd
against them
say
would be huge.
I'd be safe and say 8-5. I think there's some tough games in there, especially Denver away, Suns away, Warriors away, three straight. Warriors on the back-to-back. So I'll say 8-5. I think that's safe guess.
All right. What about you, Adam?
I think they'll split with the Nuggets.
Depends on Jokic too. if he's
That
back.
is very true. They almost lost to the Nets
They
last
just
night.
got Gordon back, but now Jokic is out. Been out
I'll
for
go nine
at
and four.
least you're going 9-4. Okay. I would love to say 10-3, although I think it is going to be very, very tough in some of this stretch to go 10-3. Um, I'll go 9-4.
Don't be
I could
scared, Garrett. Don't be scared, Garrett. You know you want to say 10-3.
Just say 10-3.
fuck it, I'll say 10-3.
There we go.
I
Why not?
mean,
Why not? This team is so freaking good.
I'm with you. One of them to Denver, maybe one to Phoenix, and then either one of Houston or Boston. Because I do think we beat Houston earlier in the year, which is really, really, really impressive.
Yeah.
Um, Houston's long, and whenever the Thompson twins go up against each other, everyone wants to talk about Durant and Cade. Thompson twins against each other, Şengün versus Duran. I think January 23rd is some. It's on Prime Video, by the way, folks. So if you don't have an Amazon subscription, find a family member's Amazon subscription for that. So, 8-5 for Matt, 9-4, Adam, 10-3. All right. Adam, when you put that episode out, maybe that'd be a fun graphic for folks in there to kind of get some poll discussions on there. I want to also give a shout out to everybody I've seen some of the social media traffic, online traffic for our written year-end recap piece that we put out for the last episode. Thanks to everybody who checked out the last episode, whether in audio or video form. Much appreciated. It goes a long way in helping the channel, as well as our written stuff on there. We'll be hoping to maybe do some more written stuff also too. So it won't just be at the end of a year. Gentlemen, you have anything else you want to add?
Go Pistons.
Yeah, I really don't have anything. I think one of the biggest questions, yeah, we is something. When's the trade deadline? Is it in February?
Yeah, I think it's February 10th is my guess, but let me look. Might be
Um,
earlier because All-Star break.
I think
Uh,
I
February February 5th at 3 Eastern.
okay.
So we will
So
be on trade deadline eve unless we want to go trade deadline day on the 5th before the Washington game.
okay,
We can fit. Yeah, I think
That's a
that's
Thursday.
an
I
exciting time to be podcasting.
yeah. Well, with that said, I know we only have a few minutes left. I think one of the biggest question marks with this team right now isn't so much how they're playing because I think they're playing really, really well. Um, is do you do anything with this team? Is
Mhm.
there anything that this team needs to do, um, trade wise, uh, moving forward? Because you're always seeing the the mock-ups and
Michael Porter
what
Jr. linked to
yeah,
a name on the Pistons 80 million times already.
yeah. And I don't know if this is something that I would mess with at this point right now. Um, unless they, knock on wood, have some type of long-term injury that comes up. Um, I don't know if there's something. I don't know if there's anything this team needs to do, to really, as far as like blockbusters go. So, uh, I would be really
Danish Jenkins going up to from a two-way to standard probably be the big thing. By the way, we said 56 games in the last episode. It's actually 50 games that
Mhm.
he's allowed up in the top team on a two-way deal. We're 36 games in, so do the math on that. Cade Cunningham out tonight per Keith Langolis due to a right wrist contusion starting lineup against this game with the Bulls. Jaden Ivey, Duncan Robinson, Asar Thompson, Paul Reed, Isaiah Stewart. Great JB Bickerstaff quote. Our guys are very good at just staying grounded, staying in the moment, understanding what we're trying to accomplish and what we've all come from. Nasty dogs mentality, boys.
I like the
So,
nasty. I like that they're giving the nasty dogs too. They're not going for like Bad Boys 3.0 or going to work 2.0
back to
or anything like
do
that.
work or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Give this team their own identity.
Hell yeah. Well, gents, if we don't have anything else, it's been a fun month stretch, seeing this Pistons team. The next month or so leading into the trade deadline will probably be as much, if not maybe even more exciting. We shall see. For this Eastern Conference leading second best record in the NBA, Detroit Pistons, bringing a type of basketball that we love near and dear to our hearts, to the hearts and minds of everybody. For Adam Hernandez, for Matt Feldbush, Garrett Comat's here. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next month. Detroit basketball now, then, always.
Thanks again for checking out the latest episode of the Detroit City Sportscast. For more of this type of content, go to detroit.themajorsports.com, where you can see not only this, but all prior episodes of Detroit City Sportscast, along with our other Majors Detroit content, whether it is the mulling over Detroit sports, any of our post-match recaps, or Make City Make Spence and Channel 451 for our Detroit City-centric content. Additionally, we are on YouTube at The Majors TV. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we're on social media. Twitter and Instagram, we are at TMSNX Detroit. Blue Sky is TMSNXDetroit.bsky.social. Also, we are on Facebook at The Majors Detroit. And if you check out your podcast in audio form, you can find us at The Majors Detroit. Be sure to hit like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way towards helping out everyone here at The Majors Detroit in their efforts. Thanks again for checking this out. Catch you later.